That Dicey Dungeons music is so good. All right. We've tweeted out where we are and that we're live. Probably have some people trickling in. This mic, man. Ooh, it's like, I apologize for bumping the mic all over the place. It's like scratching me. Take off our headphones now. What's up? We are gonna color some stuff today. So I put up on Twitter that I left it up to you guys, put up another poll. What do we want to make? We want to work on our Fresno Nightcrawlers, which I have an idea for tweaking slightly, and I'm kind of excited about it. And I've also got kind of an idea for what to do about their faces and their eyes. So I am interested in getting back into that. We might do that Saturday morning, but we'll see. We'll see how I feel. Yeah, so I put that up. That's not what we're doing. What we're doing is we're working on Rico's Jam, which is, let me make sure that we're live, everything's running. Yes, we're good. Which is this Jim Lee cover for X-Men, Uncanny X-Men 268. I think an artist edition of this just came out. If you ever want like to find black and white work, artist editions are really good. If you're an aspiring colorist and you're looking for stuff to color, artist editions. IDW just recently came out with these like full page meaning bigger than 11 by 17 issues that are like stapled together of like Walking Dead #1, Outcast #1, some other stuff too. This was like a couple years ago. Hear that train go by? My point is that there is black and white line art out there. If you are looking for black and white line art and can't find it, just keep your eyes open, keep it in the back of your head, you'll find some. Man, my throat is parched. Whew. Okay. Let's get into this. So this zip was in here, and I'm not the biggest fan. These are definitely Jim Lee drawings with like, I don't know who put this zip in, if Rico put this zip in or if it was just in there, but it's like absolutely annihilating the text. And I'm just kind of like not into it. I tried dropping a different zip in there, this one. Obviously we wouldn't leave it just like this, but I was kind of thinking about using this. This is a deleter screen. You can get those on Amazon, whatever. They usually paste them into physical artwork, but I scanned a bunch of them and I use them from time to time. But I don't know, I'm kind of not feeling this either. I think we might just paint a bunch of clouds in here and maybe try to keep the zip tone, like we can mask this off. I know that this isn't really what we want to be doing immediately, but I just kind of want to set up the line art first. So there was one city. Where was the other one? There. All right. So let's get the rest of the line art out. Man, I don't know what's going on with my voice. Struggling. Took too long to do this stream. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. I got to make some comics of my own today, which was pretty fun. I am working on a comic that I'm doing everything for: writing, drawing, lettering. I worked on some of the lettering today, and if you had seen my stream where I did lettering before, you know that I am not the greatest letterer in the world. It's really hard for me. It felt like when I was first starting to get into color and like I couldn't really try to figure out how to phrase this. I wasn't like going in being like, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, like with like a clear path, you know? Instead, it was like I would go in and I'd be like, I hope that this looks good and works, you know? Like that's where my head was at. That's all I wanted. Just make it look good, make it work. And that's kind of where I am with lettering. I kept like trying to get like the fonts that I have, and I've purchased some fonts from Blambot and stuff that I rather liked. Is this an RGB? Let's find out. Mode RGB. That's what I thought. We're gonna peek away for just a second. I just want to check something out. So yeah, I'm starting to get into. I just wanted to brighten up my monitor since this stuff is not for print and we're working in RGB. Want to make sure that you guys are getting a good product, and we're making a good product for web. So we're back. Yeah, so let's figure out what we're doing before we start chatting about lettering. We have like a foreground, kind of a middle ground, and a background going on. I'm gonna I just want to make sure that we're all good. I think I went over these flats already. I think. Rico. What is this? This 1 pixel here. You're killing me. Killing me, Rico. Let's deepen the blue a little bit on cap. Maybe not that deep. There we go. We're gonna mess with the yellow a little bit. These guys are all whiteys, so let's make them white. Kind of like, the reason I gave them all the same skin tone is we could probably get away with like a paler, more strawberry hued, like for Black Widow, for Natasha, because she is Russian. But I don't know, in the interest of like keeping the palette, having less colors on the page to work with, keeping the palette a little more together, I just like decided to do it this way. Black Widow's thing should be red, right? Right? That makes sense. Just like how we kept all the skin tones the same, we made these yellows the same. Darken up her hair a little bit. Yeah. I'm just trying to get the flats to a place where I feel like it's base color. I don't know what we're gonna do with these quite yet. So, you know what? Why don't we do this? I kind of want to. I don't know. We're gonna mess with that later. We're gonna take all the color for the text and the box here. Oh my god, that takes everything all the way around. Whatever, it's fine. All right, so we got all the color for the text, the border, the box, and the UPC or whatever. We're just going to copy it, paste it. So now when we eventually start like screwing up this stuff, when we start being like, oh, we're gonna just get in the sky here, like we're working on the characters, but we're not working on this stuff up here. So like it kind of preserves this. We're gonna lock it for now. I'm also gonna duplicate the flats just to keep them and lock those. So that way flats are preserved and we can always select what we need to select. So let's figure out what we're gonna do here. I actually hadn't thought about it, weirdly. I was like, oh, it's Jim Lee. Like, it'll work itself out. Like, I won't have to think too much. And here we are having to think. So this selection that I'm making right now in the back, this is the background, and then we have our characters in the foreground. So we want to make sure that they're separated, and the easiest way to do that is to just be like hot cold, you know, cooler background, warmer characters, or vice versa. That's the easiest way to get that nice pop. So we're gonna try to get that nice pop. People are tweeting. Rico just tweeted out from the Color Jams account. Color Jams is different than the Colorist Jam. I don't know why Rico didn't just call it something else, but whatever, who cares? I don't know. We're gonna get. What I proposed is that he call it Color Jam Classic, because he uses a lot of classic line art. Like we're doing this. This is like from the 90s. Early 90s, I believe. Man, I wish that I could just, you know what? I wish I could turn off the all of this stuff. And I believe that we're going to be able to by doing this. Just going in and turning it off. Okay, so we're not okay, so this is the issue. This is why I wanted to do that, is because if I'm looking at this color, this scheme that we're not even married to, this is going to be like we work on this at the end, and the Marvel Comics logo and the Wolverine over here and this shade of blue, we're going to let that affect our judgment for this cover, and I don't want to do that. I want to have clear judgment for this cover. So we're going to work solely on this. We're going to leave this layer you know, unchecked, so we can focus on like what we're working on and kind of figure it out. Okay, so Jim put like a really like hard secondary light source because he is a pro at this stuff. He knows what works. And you know, I feel like, I wonder if I'm just thinking out loud right now. I wonder if Jim actually like color or drew differently based on how like coloring has, let's face it, coloring's come a long way since Pac-Man. And like, I wonder if he drew differently to accommodate different colorists and different technologies even. That'd be an interesting question to ask him. Unless he responds with no, then it's not an interesting question to ask him. Unless he's just doing what he's doing. All right, let's figure this out. Is this where we want to be? Is this how we want to live? let's work on these cities. I had this like wild notion that I was going to get in here and start like painting in clouds behind them, but I think between the text and the logo and everything, it might be not worth our effort to do something like that. Just painting in these cities. The cities are pretty gestured in, so we don't have to get too technical with them. Not yet, anyway. I'm like really just kind of blocking them in, and we'll tweak them as we go. They have a strong light source from the bottom, so we're going to try to embrace that, lean into it. One thing I noticed, I know I canceled this stream a couple times and like pushed it to the next day, pushed it to the next day, pushed it to the next day. Thank you for noticing this is bottom lit. Yeah, no problem. How's it going, Marissa? You can tell it's bottom lit, by the way, because there's not a lot of detail down here, but there's a lot of detail up here. And what he's drawn basically is the light source like drowning out the detail, instead of seeing light, or instead of seeing you know, detail like windows and stuff like that, you see light, like very bright light, like that kind of thing. I was thinking, man, maybe we should, you know, when you cinematographers use like, what do they call it, anamorphic lenses, and it makes those kind of like lens flares that are really flat or up and down depending on like how they've tilted the camera. I think maybe we might try to do some of that on this cover. We just want to make this cover like as stylish as possible. I don't know if we're at that point yet. Like, we're still working very generally. Like, I'm just kind of gesturing some stuff in here, trying to make this look like it works, and we've thought about it. We're gonna knock out some of the line art and stuff, so it'll eventually, it should all work eventually. But yeah, X-Men, in my mind, X-Men should always be like super stylish. It should always be really cool. X-Men titles, I feel like, should always have a like younger team on them, if that makes any sense. Like, old enough to do the job, but young enough to be like hip as hell, you know? At least as far as the art goes. Thinking about this. Yeah, man. All right, so yeah, what I was working on today was I was doing a lot of lettering, and it's really difficult for me. I was saying this before, that I felt like how it was when I first started coloring. I was just like grasping at straws, trying to get something to just look halfway decent, you know? And I didn't have a lot of like fruitful work done today, you know? Like, I didn't end up with like a fully lettered page that I really loved at all. At all. Instead, I ended up with a day of just learning. One of the things that I kind of like realized, I did like a lot of like mechanical lettering, meaning like I was using computers and I was using fonts, and I've never done that before, and I think I hate it. But I also think that I need it in a way to like give me a guidepost, so that I'm not stretching out the fonts in weird ways, or like when I'm hand lettering. So it like gives me a good roadmap where I know like everything is being separated in such a way that like it all works. I hate this. This is super boring. Let's mess with it. Take the highlights. There we go. Now it's interesting. We're just leaning full into the RGB. Like, this will not print well, and who cares? It's fine. It's fine. We're all fine. Everyone's fine. Yeah, so I ended up like going in with a font, a very nice font that I bought from Lambot of like a while ago, and kind of went in and just ended up with something I didn't like. But eventually learning how to do it the way I want to do it, which is going in with those fonts, hand lettering it, and then drawing it in. The other thing that I really realized, and this might sound to anyone who's like done comics before, like start to finish, that when you hand letter something or you letter anything, read it afterwards, like give it a minute, or like work on another page and then go back and read it. Oh man, you'll see all the faults when you try to read the page. There was a bunch of stuff that I was like, oh, I need to change that. These stairs are supposed to be warm, and we done made them cool. I'm just bop it over to the other end of the spectrum here. No big deal, right? Done deal? No. I mean, we just drop the saturation, maybe. Maybe we just leave it like that. I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know, and no one knows. All right. Let's focus on our team of heroes that have never done anything wrong before in their lives. Our team of heroes who have never made a mistake. These ding-dongs. I was just recently reading a old John Romita Jr. book. What was it called? Hearts of Darkness, with Wolverine, Ghost Rider, and Punisher. And who was it? Who's the demon in Marvel vs. Capcom 2? Shoot, I forgot his name. He's got like crazy spikes coming out of his head. I don't know, but he's like, I'm gonna get you guys, because you guys are all stone cold murderers. I'm gonna get you to kill my dad, the devil, and then I'll reign in hell. Cap legitimately hasn't made a major screw up. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like if Captain America screws up, like maybe the system screwed up. But yeah, he was like trying to get the whole crux of it was he was like trying to get Wolverine Castle and Ghost Rider to like go over the edge, you know, and like be bad guys by killing the devil, which I don't even know if that makes you a bad guy. Questionable. We're in a real gray area, but it was a really like hokey read. It was, the art was fantastic, but yeah, it was real silly about like good and evil, but like really ham-fisted. Depends on how you feel about foreign policy. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Cap's made some choices. I think it would depend on who's writing him and what they think America shouldn't be. Here's that strong secondary light source that I was saying before. We're gonna play with that in a minute. I mean, by the nature of telling stories, you want to put people or your characters in situations that are like difficult for them, you know. You think my head stands for France? Yeah. Ultimate Cap was kind of a dick. So like, I can't imagine like Captain America's never made a mistake. Right? Right? Oof. Oh my gosh. Please. All right, let's just do like a pass on this, like we're gonna put down some light and shadow kind of thing, like a real honest to God colorist. We've been fake coloring up until this point. I don't know if you guys have noticed. Pros in the audience will see it. They can recognize fake color from a mile away. I've been trying to read, one of my goals, if you follow me on Twitter, you probably saw it. Although who knows, because man, there's a couple people that I follow that I'm like, I haven't seen their tweets in like a year, like, or 6 months. I'm like, when was the last time I saw a tweet from this person? And then I'll check it and they've been tweeting this whole time and I just like haven't seen it. So who knows if you saw it or not. But I'm trying to zero out my backlog. I'm trying to go through the comics that I haven't read, that I've been telling myself I'm going to read. Some of them since like 15 years ago. Like that Hearts of Darkness book was like something I bought. God, I must have been like 23 when I bought that. And it's not even a long book. It's like 2 issues, 60 pages, done deal. I don't know. Anyway, I have no excuse is what I'm saying. So I've been trying to like go through the backlog and like, you know, finally read everything that I want to read. I started watching the Green Lantern series, the cartoon from 2013, somewhere in there. It's like Bruce Timm style, but computer animated. And I remember when it came out, I was a big snob about stuff, and I was like, Bruce Timm all looking like, you know, a clay model, it looks weird, just have people animate it. We want things animated, because I was all high on my own supply. With Batman the Animated Series, I was like, you know, just still kind of like reveling in that, and so I didn't even give the Green Lantern show that much of a shot. And then friend of the stream, Fake McCoy, he was like, hey, this thing is good, actually. We're talking about it in the Discord, and I gave it a shot, and now I'm on like the last 3 episodes. So one of the things I pulled out in my backlog is Green Lantern Will World, which was drawn by the late Seth. Shoot, I forgot his last name. He unfortunately passed away, fell off a building in Tokyo or Osaka in Japan. I can talk and find things at the same time. It's fine. Let me see. Seth Fisher. We were talking about it. I just had to find it. Yeah, so I bought that forever ago because everyone was talking about how Seth was. I mean, it's a loss anyway because he passed away under like tragic, avoidable circumstances. Like it sucks that like an accident took his life, but he was a pretty amazing creative artist, and everybody talked about that. And I had never read any of his work, and I bought Will World with the intention of reading it. And I think because it was a Green Lantern book, I just never gave it a shot. Not that I'm anti Green Lantern, I just like it just doesn't excite me. The only Green Lantern I've ever read was when they first started like introducing Kyle Rayner way back in the day. Like I bought those issues as a high schooler, and that was about it. So I'm not like big into Green Lantern, but since like watching that show, I'm like, all right, let's dig out this Will World book and let's check it out. So that's like next for me. Been doing a lot of research as well for the next Colorist Jam artist. We've started doing interviews. We did one with Amy Reeder for the previous Color Jam, Colorist Jam, and it kind of struck me like how like we could do that, but do it better. Green Lantern by Grant Morrison, Liam Sharp as sick layouts. Yeah, I remember when they announced that book and or they announced the team before the book had come out, and everyone was going bonkers. And like, I like those people. Like, I should give it a shot. I also like, I bought forever ago. I bought the Blackest Night trades. Like forever ago, and then never read them and then sold them off. Those are the ones where they start to introduce other lanterns, other colored lanterns. I don't know if they're worth reading now or what, but yeah. I'm into it. I'm open to more Green Lantern. I should read the Parallax stuff. I bet that stuff is bonkers. Kelly's sleeping behind me. Full disclosure, it rained all day today, and so Kelly is she did not get her normal walk, and because of that, she has a lot of energy. So this stream is going to go until she starts nagging me to stop streaming and pay attention to her and maybe go exit the apartment. I can't say the word because she knows the word. She's too smart. She's basically holding me hostage. So yeah, it's going to be until she hits a point where she's like, I gotta do something. I fully expect it. I wrote part 1 on this because I was like, this is gonna go late. They're fine. They're Jeff Johns. Oh yeah, they're fine. I don't think I've ever read anything Jeff Johns has done that I've been like personally very excited about. They're always just kind of like fine. But I wish I did read those when I had them, because I don't want to buy them again, but maybe I will. Green Lantern is a weird book because it really feels like it just entirely takes place in its own universe. The one that I'm like really excited about is Far Sector. I kind of want to read that. Like I'm kind of more jazzed to read that than anything else as far as Green Lantern that's come out in the last like, I don't know, 10 years. Far Sector looks absolutely great and like super stylish. Green Lantern should be stylish just like the X-Men. I'm gonna throw out a bold statement. Maybe all comics should be stylish. These ain't your grandpa's comics. Yeah, so I've been reading a lot of stuff. Oh, so what I was saying was we started doing some interview stuff because I've noticed that the Colorist Jam is like we drop a new jam every 15th, and we don't want to overwhelm people, so we don't want to do more than one a month. And so it's like, what do we post when things have like slowed down a little bit? And so I was like, oh, we should do like interviews. We should celebrate the artists that we're working with. And we did one for Amy Reeder, and we got one coming up for Ian. And then I was like, well, like these are good, but like maybe we should do like video interviews. And like I had kind of experimented with that a little bit on my channel already. On my YouTube channel, like I have a handful of interviews that are up, and I feel like I started getting into a nice like rhythm. You have the interview done, it's really lovely, you just haven't formatted it yet. That's great to hear. You probably don't have to do it until like, I was thinking about posting it like I posted Amy's, I think on like the first or like the third or whatever, like you got a little time. But I started to like, I feel like by the time I interviewed Kevin Mellon, I kind of figured out started to get my footing with like how to interview people. I feel like a lot of comic book interviews, and this is no shade, this is just me as a like thinking about like what I would want out of a comic book interview, which is for the person to be very informed. And I feel like a lot of interviews that happen between professionals, like I'm a comic book artist, you're a comic book artist, you're my buddy, it turns into like, we're just gonna shoot the shit. And it's like sometimes that's really good because it's like very relaxed and like chill, but like sometimes I'm like, yo, I want to talk about I want to pick apart the career, you know? And if like, there's plenty of friends that I have where I'm like, you know, I've read some of their books, but I haven't read all of their books. So I'm in the process of doing research, basically, of going back and listening to old interviews with our next jam artist and reading old comics of our next jam artist so I can put together something good, which is what I did with Kevin Mellon. I like sat down and read all his stuff like all at once, and found that like that really helped me figure out like what I wanted to ask him, basically. All right, so we put down like a color here. Comics journalism isn't very good. Yeah, I mean, let's face it, comics journalism is difficult. Like any journalism is difficult. Journalism about comics, yeah. It's tough because like, this is the thing that I've encountered in like trying to do interviews, is that when you like interview a creator, it's really hard to get into the weeds of creation with like, how did you do this? What were you thinking when you did this? Because a lot of it is like feeling and intuition and experience, you know? So you can't really be like you can't ask questions that are like, what pen do you use? Because that's idiotic. And then you also can't really ask questions that's like, man, when you were working on Ant-Man, what were you thinking about when it came to Ant-Man? It's like, I don't know. It's like, how do you answer that? Like, I'm trying to think of questions that like I know I would want the answer to, or at least try to lead the person to a line of thinking where I can ask them, like build a line of thought in a series of questions that ends with like a question that's like, okay, if that's what you think, then why is it like this, you know? Woof, yeah, it's hard because you have to figure out what language they use and what feelings they're looking for. Yeah, exactly. I can agree 100%. Also, what pen do you use? It's came with the Cintiq. I don't know. Yeah, it's like you try to load up with like what makes something look finished to you, and the buildup is so key. Yeah. So it's like you want to ask the right questions, and sometimes it's not about asking, like coming out and asking the question. It's about like, how do I ask a series of questions that is a dialogue where I'm kind of expecting an answer, like, and the only way to get to that point is to be like, okay, I've listened to, at this point, I've like, you can do this at home, boot up. One of the great things about the age that we live in is you could just like start up Spotify and then search in podcasts Brent Schoonover, and then like 15 podcasts with Brent Schoonover will pop up through like 2010 till now. So like by listening to those, I'm you know, and I just told you who we're gonna do. It's fine. You guys get the inside track. But yeah, by listening to those, I'm like, okay, A, I don't want to ask the same questions over again that have already been covered in previous journalism. And B, like, I want to know how he responds so that we can start to get into like, okay, then what, you know? The best interview you've ever seen is James Lipton from Inside the Actors. Yeah. But people like him don't go into comics journalism. Yeah, it's the other thing that's tough as far as like all this stuff goes is comics tend to take themselves really seriously, and there's a fine line between like, we're going to give this journalism serious thought, and then also I'm working on a Wolverine, Captain America, Black Widow team, you know? It's like, I don't know, who cares? It's not who cares, it's just there's an element of like frivolity to it that I don't know. I just like, you gotta keep it in perspective is what I'm saying. So it's like, it's tough to do because you want to do hard-hitting journalism. People who do journalism want to do good journalism, you know? And there's no like scoop, there's no inside track of like, there's no gotcha moment in journalism with like Captain America like hanging out. I think that part of the reason why Kevin Mellon was such a good interview for me was because not only are we very comfortable together, but like he's done a lot of like he's been very picky about like the type of work that he picks up. Like he hasn't done a lot of mainstream work, and that's by design. And so a lot of his work just has a lot of thought put into it. He is a very generous conversational partner, for sure. He's a good dude. But he's also like, you can see him, if you look at his career, he's made like clear choices. And so being able to like look at the career as a whole and be like, okay, well, why this, not that, is provides for like an interesting conversation. Whereas if you talk to God, and we're like edging into right on the edge of something that I think that is not great either. Like there's a weird fine line to all of this. And what I was going to say was that if you talk to somebody who made a lifetime of service within, you know, work for hire with like DC Marvel, it's like it's tough because it's like there's artistry in that, and maybe it's because I need to find the right questions to ask, and I haven't done that yet. Maybe it's a little more difficult for me personally. But it's tough being like, okay, you work for hire, you get scripts, you draw the scripts, and then that's like, you know, you do it well, but that's like the thought that you put in, you know? I don't know. I'm like kind of rambling. I hope I'm making sense. What I'm saying is journalism's hard. So we're gonna with our next one, I'm gonna do some shorter stuff and we're gonna try to do some video rather than just text, which is gonna be a lot of extra work, but you know, whatever. We'll get it done. Stuff I wanted to do. And this is stuff that I wanted to do before I started working with Colorist Jam, and this is stuff that I wanted to do before she's really working on her walrus over there. She burnt out the squeaker. This is stuff that I wanted to do pre-COVID. And I was like, I don't want to talk to people online. I just want to do in person, because you can lose so much when you talk to them online. But now that we've been in COVID now for a stupid amount of time, I'm like, well, maybe we can get online and shoot some stuff. I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited to do it. Start to flex the conversation a little more. Flex the conversation. Start to just like, you know. I'm talking a lot about all of this and not talking about what I'm working on or what I'm thinking of while working on this piece. The truth is, I'm not really thinking a whole lot about this, about what we're doing. Because it's kind of like one of the nice things about working on Jim Lee line art is that he's done such a great job of like, you know, painting the roadmap that like I'm kind of just like, oh, all right, Jim, thanks. I got it from here. It's I don't know, it's nice, but there's not like a lot to talk about other than like, you know, we want to separate foreground, middle ground, background with like hot and cold, and then I think that's pretty much it. We'll get there. We'll warm up Wolverine's skin tone a little bit. Man, on the last colorist jam that we did with Ian, that stream that I did, where I was like trying to ape the colorist Tomeo with his fabric choices. That made me think about fabric in like a really different way. And then I was like, how have I not like thought about fabric like this? And then it occurred to me it's because I work on books where no one is wearing fabric. Everyone is in spandex. like I would love to apply some of those lessons that I learned on the last one into this one, but lo and behold, we're all just spandexed up. I don't know. Oh, Kevin. Very kind, thank you. You'd say that you don't lack the right questions for someone who's been work for hire for a long time, but you need to ask questions you're wrestling with, like you did with I think so. I think work for hire people, it's tougher for me because it's like less of a obvious through line of thought, because work for hire by its nature is like you're like, this is about Hawkman. This is not about, you have to like dig to find out, like you really have to dig to find oh man, I screwed up my chat box over here. I just noticed that. Apologies. There we go. Should work now. Yeah, what was I saying? I got distracted. Yeah, I think you got to dig a little harder to be like, okay, like when we put all the Hawkman stuff aside, like what are we really talking about here? And I think that with creator-owned work, people kind of like wear that on their sleeve, you know? Those kinds of conversations, like they're making that book that way because they want to, you know what I mean? Whereas with work for hire, it's like you're making Hawkman, and that comes with a certain level of like expectation, and you got to dig through the expectation to find the good stuff. But yeah, I think that there's still like good conversations worth having with work for hire for sure. I'm trying to figure that out now. Our next Colors Jam person is like 50-50 work for hire and creator owned. And I don't know if now that I put this like pink on Wolverine, like I don't know if I like the color that we ended up with the rest of his arm, but whatever, we can roll with it. You thought this beautiful painting you saw in France of the woman in white dress that had the most beautiful light in her dress? Huh. For the sleeve that I had worked on? Yeah. Man, that stuff is so cool and interesting, and like because we put everybody in spandex, we don't get to do any of that stuff. Now I'm gonna be looking for opportunities though. And we gotta warm this up. He's supposed to be wearing yellow. Nope. That didn't work. Weird. Just do like a very red. I mean, we can do that. We should yellow it up. Let's just yellow it up. Oh, my dog is getting antsy. How long have we been streaming? She didn't even let me stream for a full 2 hours. You counter your day gig with work for your day gig work for hire. Yeah. Affords the ability to not make certain choices. Sure, but I think that's why you have a very interesting career, and why I wanted to sit down and talk with you about it. Because yeah, you do actually like. Oh man, you really got to balance the work for hire with the stuff you want to do. I am feeling that right now, man. I'm working on some stuff that like I'm excited to work on. So my own stuff. However, I am only currently coloring one book. And so I'm also simultaneously like, oh God, I gotta find work. So I've been looking. It's a scary thing, but then it's like, you know, once I find work, I'm going to be like, man, I wish I could not work on this, and I could, you know, work on my own thing. It's a real devil's pickle, as they say. No one says that. I should also find work, but you're super not motivated too. Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. You keep accidentally leaving the stream. You're old and you don't twitch much. It's all right. Leave, come back. I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? Keep trying to enjoy the quiet for the moment you have. Yeah. Devil's pickle. Yeah, it is Marissa. It took me a solid 6 months to commit that to memory. That is Marissa. Took far longer than it should have. It was like meeting for the first time for 6 months. Yeah, exactly. This X-Men thing is cool. I certainly have some questions I'd like to ask Jim Lee. We should have Jim Lee on. That's what we should do. I think I've told this story before, but once I was at a con, and Jim was at the con, and I went into like the green room area, and he was signing like a pile of posters or something, and it was the saddest I've ever seen anyone look. He had a pile of unsigned and a pile of signed. He had a person there moving it while he was like signing his name. It was painful. Heavy as the head that wears the crown is all I gotta say. Yeah, have on Jim Lee. Yeah. Man, we did I colored that Wildcats thing. Like Robert Wilson IV inked a Jim Lee piece, and I thought that was really interesting. And I colored it, and I thought it came out like totally banging. Like I was so happy with it. I tweeted it out there, and then Robert like texts me later, and he's like, dang, and it got like a lot of traction on social media. And Robert was like, dang, Jim can't even give us like a retweet. It is Nick Polarity. What's up, Bernardo? My dog is really, really pushing it hard right now. Like I said, she didn't get her walk today because it's been pouring all day. Shannon's trying to lay the law down. Yeah, I like Robert too. He's a good friend. I've been picking his head about, obviously if I'm getting into lettering, then I'm working on something. And I was like, well, when it's done, like, what the heck am I going to do with it? And I was like, how do I sell it in a store? And then I was like, who do I know that has a store that would put up with my very noob questions? And I was like, oh, Robert might answer some of my questions. So I was picking his brain about how to even set up a store and keep it going and how to ship things, and it's oh yeah, I pick all over the place. Yeah, well, because it's like once the palette's kind of figured out, then it's like, well, it's there. Like I don't have to think about it other than that. I don't know that he really needs this yellow up here, actually. Might dial that back. Yeah, this is the second one. I was just talking about that one that Robert inked, the Wildcats one. Yeah, this is technically the third, although the first one did not provide any it wasn't good, so I didn't post it places. It was a noted disaster. It was a noted public disaster. I tried to do a Nightwing one. You had the Wildcats one as your phone wallpaper for a while? Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that one came out good, man. Turns out Jim Lee knows how to draw a few things. My dog is full on bonkers in the background. I don't know if you can hear her. She's like killed the squeaker out of a thing, and she's just like going to town on it, and it just sounds like heavy breathing in the background. Yeah, we did a Nightwing one, and the reason it did not turn out well is because I was getting cocky. That's what was happening. I was getting cocky, and I was like, I'm gonna work on this Jim Lee noted public disaster. Yeah, I'm gonna work on this Jim Lee thing. It's gonna be fine. And then it was like a low resolution piece, and I was like, I'm still gonna make it work. Like color's color, whatever. Like, and I started getting in there, and it was just like, oh, buddy, oh, we're in a bad way. This is not where we want to be. I'm sure the stream is archived, but I did not post it anywhere. Like I didn't post it in my Twitter or Instagram or anything. Oh, beige is bullshit. Is that what you're thinking of? Yeah, beige is non-committal bullshit. The only time you ever want to use beige is if non-committal bullshit fits the story. I've got a few hot takes up my sleeve. I don't know. I lost so much of my career to beige. Like, when I was kind of depressed and didn't realize it, and I was making everything beige because inside I was beige. And now I'm like, who wants to live like that? Not me. I mean, think about it like this. If this thing was all just beige and gray, it'd be super boring. Like, here you go. Beige and gray. Actually, this has kind of got a weird vibe to it that I'm into. No, we can't go there. Man, it just bores the hell out of me. I don't know. That's just personal preference. Man, my dog is just absolutely wild right now. Torn between his jaw and his mouth. All colors are valid. I forgot how the Nick Pilardi stuff got started. For a while, I was floating around an idea. Speaking of good cops and bad cops, or cops that are maybe torn between him and his family. I always wanted to do this story about. I don't actually have a story for it. I just have a character, two brothers that are. I don't know how they're brothers. Maybe they're cousins because they have different last names. I don't know. The point is that they're a duo, and one of them is very tough, and one of them is not very tough, and it's Tank Ironbones, and it's Doily Crumplebones, and I gotta put them in somewhere. They have to go somewhere. They're too good not to go somewhere. They're the Nick Pilardi from 2019. I don't even remember. I don't know. I'm like kind of half thinking about Black Widow's suit, and I probably should be thinking about it more. It's actually going to be a little harder than the rest of this. Maybe Doily Crumplebones is actually the tough one. It's like ironic. Like when a guy's named Tiny, but he's huge. I don't like the skin tone at all. Not even a little. They can be step siblings, and those names are great. Man, I was telling somebody about it, and they proceeded to take a business card out of their wallet. They were like, "Hold on," they gave me a name from a cop that like interviewed them about something, and it was a similar name. It was like God, what was it? It was like Jack the Mace or something like that. It was like something like not the, because it can't be a name with the, but like it was something like real man, I wish I knew what it was. But they were like, this cop interviewed me and he gave me his card, and I've kept it in my wallet for 15 years because like they were like, the name is so good. God, I wish I could remember the name. When I'm off stream, it's gonna come to me. Shan. All right, I think my dog is just, her brain's gonna explode if she doesn't get exactly what she wants. She's like been real pushy. So I think what's gonna happen is we're gonna finish this probably tomorrow, actually. Might stream. Should we finish this tomorrow or should we play games tomorrow? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll do 2 art streams next week. And we'll do 2 game streams this weekend. I'm not exactly sure. Jackknife, Winston Cudgel, Tony kick you in the face. Yeah. I like Jackknife. Man. So good. We should just stop making superhero comics. We should just make Detective Comics. Oh no. Oh no. Detective Comics is a superhero comic. We've goofed ourselves. We've played ourselves. Hire me to name gods. All right, we're gonna finish this sometime soon. Let me real quick decide what we're doing next. So tomorrow I think we're gonna play Gotcha Force on the GameCube. It's a game that is similar to Virtua On. You have a story with a character named Jackknife. Dang. It's similar to Virtua On. It should be fun. We're going to do our regular Skies of Arcadia on Sunday. Then I'm going to say next Wednesday, we're going to finish this off. So like 5 days from now or whatever. Dracula Detective, let's play, please. Yes. I've got a Dracula thing that I'm working on. Man, the crime of comics, by the way, speaking of stuff that we're working on and would like to put together, the crime of comics is that you literally cannot make comics faster than your brain can think of them. Like, I'm sitting on like 8 ideas and it's going to take me like 2 months to finish these like 15 pages to put together like a little zine so I can just move on to the next thing. Like, the fact that, like, I don't know, maybe this is why writers pitch a bunch of stuff and also do stuff on the side. Like, maybe that's what I should be doing. Maybe I should put together pitches. But like, oh, yeah, you can't do everything you want to do. That's like the reality of it. Anyway, we're gonna finish this thing off. One of the things that I was actually, well, hold on one second. Okay, we can come back. So this is a bunch of stuff that I've worked on stream already, and I kind of wanted to see, like, if I'm falling into a rut as far as color schemes go. Like, we're kind of doing, like, it's a good brain. We're kind of doing the same thing, I feel like. Can we sort by date? Bridge, Adobe Bridge. Sort by date modified. Okay, so this is the oldest stuff. Am I kind of falling into it? I mean, a little bit. Look at this. These guys are same. Maybe, you know what we're going to do is I'm going to get in my own head about this stuff for the next few days. And then I'm going to come back and I'm either going to be like, we're doing it all over again, or I'm going to come back and I'm going to be like, you know what, who cares? I don't know yet. We're going to find out. Man, we should work on this stuff too. Raphael Grandpa stuff. I didn't know I had this. This is kind of similar too. We're doing hot and cold. We're just doing hot and cold all over the place. This isn't hot and cold. This isn't, well, it is, but it's different. This was the piece we were talking about before, the other Jim Lee piece that we did. I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna come back. We're gonna finish this X-Men piece next Wednesday. The cool thing about that is that my dog will have gone to doggy daycare, and she will be nice and chill. You love the way I use greens. We haven't used any greens, not in a while, not since this one. So hopefully after she comes back from doggy daycare, she'll be nice and chill and we can work as much as we want. That'll happen next Wednesday. If you want to watch some games, I'm going to do that in the mornings, Saturday and Sunday mornings. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. Thanks for chatting, and I will see you on the next one.